Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Wayne's World of Science and Technology. Today, I'm going to give you a talk on military production. Was a huge number of accounts saying, "Oh, just wait." This is in 2022. Just wait until Russian military production gets online. They'll be putting out tanks and armored vehicles and all this crap at tremendous rates. And I have a question. Have you actually seen a lot of new Russian kit on the front lines? The answer is no, you haven't. So why hasn't Russia scaled up production the way they should have? And the answer is simply they can't. Nobody can. It's what's called the tools problem. Now, the tools problem basically comes down to, and I'm going to explain this using naval terms because I think in naval terms. I'm a naval history geek, so sorry. If you're a land warfare guy, some of it may not make sense, but that's just the way it works. In the old days, when I say in the old days, I mean way, way back and before recorded history, damn near everybody could build boats and build warboats. All you needed was some sort of life form that could be turned into something that would float. Whether it was the skin coracles of Ireland or the reed boats of Egypt, or for that matter, the balsa wood rafts of Western South America. There's all sorts of different adaptations, but the point is they were all done using local materials and required very little tooling to do. Now, I'm going to simplify this by skipping a whole bunch of things, which I probably shouldn't skip, but the idea is to get this over with it in less than 5 hours. At a certain point, about 1800, steam propulsion became practical. And so we started seeing warships with steam propulsion. That started pushing some of the builders out of the market because it requires another tool set to build steam engines. Whether it's the old single expansion or double expansion or triple expansion, it requires another set of tooling. Not long after that, in the 1850s, they also came up with the idea of building boats out of iron. The first iron-hulled warship built was HMS Warrior, and she currently is a museum ship in England. You can go visit her. That required a totally different set of tooling. Now you require tooling for the hull, the carpentry work inside the ship, and the engine. It started pushing other suppliers of the market because they didn't have the tooling. Then came the switch to steam turbines. All of a sudden, the triple expansion or multiple expansion steam engine becomes unreliable and relatively useless. Turbines are a lot harder to build, require a higher technological level, and basically it adds another level to the tool chain. And so you add all sorts of other little things like, changing from iron to steel. Adds another level of the tool chain. You have to make iron, then you have to make it into steel. You go to the various types of armor like Harvey or Krupp. Again, you have to make steel, then you have to make the armor out of it. Every stage along the line, you are making things harder for yourself. Your tool chain gets larger and larger. So now we end up in a situation where we are today, where nobody, and I mean nobody, can expand military production quickly on the classic items. When I'm talking the classic items, I'm talking warships, fighter jets, and tanks, armored vehicles. Because the stuff is just so complex that there just is no way to turn around and do what we did in World War II. I mean, in World War II, Canada built a tank plant. Yeah, a country of less than 10 million people at that time built its own tank factory and produced something like 1,200 tanks that we shipped to the Soviet Union. The United States built a couple of tank factories. The Soviet Union built a couple of tank factories. Britain built a tank factory or two. The Germans built a couple of them. I mean, everybody was building tank factories because you could then. The tool chain was short enough that you could work fairly easily. But now, because you require so many extra inputs and your tool chain has gotten so complex, it is really impossible to ramp up military production quickly. You cannot do it. So all of the reports you're seeing screaming, oh, we're failing to ramp up military production, basically, they don't understand what they're talking about. They have no idea. They don't know how hard it is. You're talking to some reporter who's basically got no clue about manufacturing, doesn't know anything about military equipment for that matter. All they know is that, oh, we're using more equipment than we're producing. Well, yeah, it's going to happen because you can't wrap up the equipment production quick enough. You can't wrap up munitions production. You can only ramp it up as you can build the tooling. You know, if Russia wants to build another tank plant, or the United States wants to build another tank plant, or anybody wants to build another tank plant, they have to build all the tooling for it. That takes time, especially when you consider that the tooling takes tooling, and the tooling for the tooling takes tooling. If we wanted to build plants to manufacture World War II tanks, yeah, we could do it fairly quickly. I have no doubt that Russia probably could have gotten a factory to build World War II level tanks built in a year and a half. Why didn't they? Because they're useless. Compared to the equipment today, the World War II tanks like the T-34 or the Sherman or the Panzer III just are not survivable on a modern battlefield. There are too many things that can take them out, and you require the more complex system to be survivable. So that's why nobody's ramping up military production quickly. That's why Russia hasn't all of a sudden started producing 1,000 tanks a year. That's why the United States is having problems with shipbuilding. It's hard, folks. It takes a lot of work, a lot of inputs to build modern systems, and you just can't do it easily. Anybody who thinks you can, well, said you can do meatball weapons design. I've talked about that before. There's a live stream where I talk meatball weapons design. Sorry for spinning around, the dog's being a pain in the neck again. And that's one thing. But if you want to build the heavy stuff, you need tooling. And guess what? The tooling is bloody tough. Anyway, that's it for today. Please like, share, subscribe if you found this useful, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.